I mean, like, the important thing for me at the end of the day is like, I want to buy cartons of Marlboro Reds, and I have a person that lets me do that with Bitcoin, and I can't do that, with the stupid BRC20 token or these ordinals. And like, that's my goal at the end of the day. Like, my kid's like 7. I've already got him started on Marlboro Reds, and he's sucking them down almost as quick as I am.
Hey everybody, this is the High Hash Rate Podcast. I'm Mike.
And I'm Dan.
And this podcast is just two plebs getting high and talking about Bitcoin, life, and the absurdity of the fiat world. Our guests don't necessarily get high with us, and you don't have to either.
But it helps.
All right, here we are.
Here we are with the next episode of High Hash Rate. And today we're talking to Dick Keiser.
Dan, hold on. Dan, adjust your monitor. So you're not so small. Like you look like this, bro. Come on. Never mind. Okay. Anyway, sorry.
You guys told me to do this before the show started, Mike. Thanks. Today we're here with Richard Keiser. That is the pen name behind most of the articles on this website called the Bitcoin Bugle. And I noticed them in the past few weeks, and I don't know if you saw the sort of viral post going around of Craig Wright is suing because his name was redacted from the Jeffrey Epstein flight logs. That's what caught my attention. It's a satire site. So the Bitcoin Bugle is like the Babylon Bee or the Onion, right? But it's kind of like focused on the Bitcoin community. And I think we're here with are you the founder, Dick?
Yeah, I'm the founder of the website.
And how long ago did you launch this? It seems like it goes back to about the beginning of the year.
Yeah, I launched it a few months ago. It's on the About page, January of 2023. So yeah, right at the start of the year.
So do you, if you look at this stuff, there's some pretty good posts on there. You have to be seems like ingrained in like Bitcoin Twitter and like that kind of culture. So you've been kind of participating in that for the past, I don't know, cycle, kind of the Bitcoin Twitter community by another pen name? Okay.
Yeah.
You identify as a pleb?
Sure. Yeah, that works for me.
Yeah. So what gave you the idea? Like, what made you decide to launch this? What was the first
impetus?
Yeah, the first story that came out or the first post.
Yeah, So I was trying to figure out how I'd do this interview tonight because it's the first interview I've done as Richard Keiser, and I wasn't sure if I would, talk, sincerely about where I'm from or try to do like a parody of like pretending to be Richard Keiser. I might go back and forth, but I
honestly think you should do the parody version.
Yeah, lean into the character. Find out who he is today by speaking it out loud. You know what I mean?
This is the place to do it.
Yeah. This is the birth.
Okay, so like kind of in my head of like, who is Richard Keiser? Well, Richard Keiser is like a disenchanted like journalist that worked in like, traditional like newspaper writing media, and got tired of writing like lies about, Bitcoiners and, lies in general. And so he decided to, go and write, parody articles and jokes, having an expertise in, just fabricating stories and presenting them as real. Trying to, do that, use the skill set, but also, be honest at the same time and forthcoming that these are parody articles instead of, just blatantly lying.
Right.
Yeah.
And you said you've got like a partner that you kind of do this with, and they had a different. What was that pen name?
Yeah, my partner, he goes by Max Shaft. He's quite a fellow.
It's all right. And did you kind of get this from like the Onion or the Babylon Bee, or is it kind of more of sounds like the origin of Richard Keiser is just kind of like fed up with the fluff in the industry and just kind of telling the shiny side of things? It's just kind of more of a mockumentary type angle.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, I think like if anything, the inspiration was the New York Times, and just like how silly all of their reporting is. But it goes for most of traditional media that is propagating a bunch of nonsense on a regular basis.
Why did Richard Greiser become disenchanted with media and journalism?
Well, like drowning your souls in like alcohol for feeling like just a piece of garbage for spreading a bunch of lies and deception, selling your soul.
Writing copy for big exchanges.
So he used to sell.
PR.
He basically used to write for some big conglomerate. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you like when you go into like the office, and just bang away, at the keyboard, getting your marching orders for your editor telling you what you can and can't write and like what the spin needs to be, and having to deal with like all the peer pressure of your coworkers who are woke lunatics. It's pretty like draining on the soul, so like I had to drink a lot, and my liver, I ended up having psoriasis and getting jaundice at like the age of 40, where my eyeballs were yellow, and I was like, yeah, I gotta stop doing this. I just feel so horrible about myself. So yeah.
So some people, they start a Substack, and some people start their own site.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I would say, what is maybe this is a blend of Richard and the guy behind Richard, but the background in journalism, is that your whole career? I guess I'm trying to ask the question to the.
You're trying to separate the identities, my friend.
Yeah, trying to break.
That's what you're doing.
I don't know how to recover this, but yeah.
No. The way you do it. See, here's the thing: is you always ask Richard Greiser the questions about Richard Greiser. That's how you do it. So the question I had was like, does Richard Greiser have a family?
Yes. They're all asleep. It's very late.
And how has Richard Greiser's sort of media life switch to his Onion, what's this thing called again? It's called the just
Bitcoin
remind
Bugle.
Me of Bitcoin Bugle. How has that shift affected his family? I was curious.
And his liver.
Liver's doing pretty good. I'm not like as yellow as I used to be. The wife's pretty happy about that. Getting in shape, eating well. I've been, on the carnivore diet. I actually have a breaking story coming out about, Safidean, not being very forthcoming about like his real diet. But I actually.
Wait, is he going to
serious?
Is he going to the salad bar, the Salads Plus?
It's worse. I know this is coming out in 2 weeks. So I'll probably write the article by then. But like, he was definitely caught eating a Beyond Meat burger in front of people.
Oh my God! You know what? Where was this at? Was this in Miami? Was this in Vegas at a conference?
Oh,
did he know it was an Impossible or Beyond Meat burger, or was he tricked by like Peter McCormack?
It was in Lebanon. Like he
in Lebanon.
Yeah, he imported Beyond Meat across the ocean to Lebanon.
The Phoenicians are not usually big on Beyond Meat, as Nassim Taleb would like to claim. Nassim Taleb is also Lebanese, but Nassim Taleb he's like ashamed of his background, so he never refers to himself as Lebanese. I'm serious. This isn't a joke. He always refers to himself and his people as Phoenicians, like the ancient people of that area, or the Phoenicians, and like this, hooked on phonics, like term of like learning how to read through phonetical sounding out words, like that kind of has its origin in Phoenicia. So maybe that's part of why him and Safidean kind of had their breakdown, because Safidean embraces his heritage, where Nassim Taleb is ashamed of it.
Well, that's a really interesting take. But I've got a question for you guys. Like, with this newfound information about Safidean, like, who's the better Bitcoiner here, Nicholas Taleb or Safidean? Because at least like Taleb seems like he's being honest, not
Yeah,
living a lie.
Taleb keeps it real. I mean, the Bitcoiners aren't all just bulls, some are bears. He's just kind of a bear. I love the Bitcoin standard, but the eating bugs and crickets and Beyond Meat burgers is you got to slay your heroes, and this might be the reason to slay Safidean.
How did you come across this evidence of Safidean doing this?
Yeah, who are your
sources?
Yeah, who are your sources? Do you have sources all over the nodes, all over the network?
Well, like here's the thing that I picked up from the New York Times. It's just like whenever you don't have a source, you just say somebody close to the individual.
Right. There you go.
Like, that's
Sources with inside information, or sources aware of the situation.
The proximity of this person.
Do you know anybody at the New York Times? How are they feeling the heat for this Stop the Presses campaign against using the paper, all the paper they're wasting, all the trees they're killing to publish their newspaper?
Yeah, I mean, like they're probably like drinking more, and their livers are having more issues than normal, and maybe they're adding like some Xanax to the mix as well to help them sleep at night. But
so you mentioned the alcoholism. You guys the Bitcoin Bugle broke a story recently about the CDC. They have a new program to combat alcoholism in the United States. Do you want to share a little bit more about that story?
yeah, I mean, I think this is like it's a pretty interesting way to go. But the CDC director saw people's reaction to Dylan Mulvaney and Bud Light and said that all alcohol companies, specifically beer companies, need to hire trans spokesperson, to potentially curb all the drinking across the board, because
it's actually a smart strategy. If you think about the worst health conditions for the average person, it's largely in like the American South, a lot of obesity, a lot of alcoholism, and turning those people off of all of their available options for light beer would be a great way to improve health outcomes in that region of the country.
Yeah, I mean, there's this amazing thing that's happening. So there's like, two camps. So like the key to success in this world, I think, especially like when you're dealing in a media environment, is to like really stifle your emotions, when you're looking at things, and think very logically. But there's these two camps, and there's the current thingers, and then there's the anti-current thingers. And yeah, the anti-current thingers like are going to make really strong decisions, and they very well could be cured of alcoholism in this situation.
It was kind of like the Get on Zero people. Like they ended up being cured of having any money. Like they lost all their fiat because they went on zero. And this is like the perfect way to get people off alcohol. I honestly, I'm not a fan of the Biden administration, but this particular policy, I think has some legs to it.
I do know that Coca-Cola recently, I saw an ad that said zero never tasted so good, and it's Ben Stiller with the Coke Zero. So there
you go. But thanks, Mike. I don't know how that ties in, but that was a good observation.
JW Weatherman was a big part of that, right?
Oh yeah. The guy who said, I don't know, Mike, I think Mike used his cold wallet solution. You have to get like 4 or 5 different laptops that are completely wiped of everything. You load Linux on, then you print your private keys onto a CD-ROM, and you save these private keys in these envelopes on these CD-ROMs, and they're like broken into like 4 or 5 different packages. And then you send those private keys to a Canadian protester who's protesting against the truckers, and then they give it directly to the police. That's the best cold storage solution that JW Weatherman kind of came up with.
I think there's some lawyers involved in that process somewhere too.
Oh, that's what Bitcoin was made for, to include more lawyers in the process of mutual or mutually beneficial exchange.
Yeah, censorship resistant my ass.
My co-host Mike here, a few episodes ago, there was a guy talking about using a heater to mine Bitcoin, and Mike didn't know about that. It's been around for a while, the ASICs using it as heaters, but we talked about like washing machines and other home appliances being used to mine Bitcoin. You guys reported on a new development in the space that Mike could benefit from. It's vapes. When you're vaping, you can mine Bitcoin that way. He's got it right there. You could have an ASIC in that bad boy.
Look at all the Bitcoin I'm wasting. You know what I mean? That by not buying this product.
Yeah, I mean there's a ton of innovative products, coming out with Bitcoin mining, being a part of it. Another one that's really interesting is the CryptoCloaks sex toy called the Hashlight that they launched.
Hashlight.
Yeah.
Can you explain how this one works? Just for people who might want to know, not myself.
I haven't really looked into it. This is something that Max Schaff wrote, but there's a picture of it, and there's something to do with like, the ASIC sucking air, like, and your genitalia with the intake.
So this thing has a battery.
No battery.
No battery. Interesting. I'll have to.
How is it powered?
We'll put the link to this product in the show notes if anybody wants to just learn more about it. But yeah.
No, it's like an attachment that you put on like an actual ASIC.
Oh, okay. So it is utilizing what would otherwise be wasted resources for male sexual pleasure.
Yeah. I heard
maybe this will incentivize wives to be more efficient.
Question. What is the biggest story you ever broke, Richard Greiser?
So as far as like, okay, so there's a few stories that were kind of interesting. One was, I'm looking through. So one that like really blew up on Twitter was like when Max Schaff revealed that Matt Odell exposed his like secret lifestyle.
That's right.
Yo, I saw this and I was like, what am I looking at?
That one was pretty big. The Craig Wright one was pretty big the other day.
You guys broke that story?
Which one?
The Bitcoin Bugle broke the Matt Odell story?
Yes.
So I didn't know who broke that story. I don't remember, but I do remember the story. So well done on breaking that story.
Oh, it was so funny. Like Jeremy Rubin apparently has some beef with Matt Odell, and he was like commenting about how much of a doucher he was at the conference last year, and it really cracked me up. But that one was pretty big. We had one that got picked up that Vitalik was dating Tom Brady's ex-wife, and that one got picked up by like some Twitter account that's like kind of big, and
I remember that one as well.
There were a bunch of debunking articles.
I was searching for so many sources on that. I was checking like E! Online, fucking Deadline Hollywood.
You know what this sort of points out to me is like the value of spreading that kind of message, the Richard Greiser message. It's it's pretty potent, I would say.
Yeah, I spread my seed wherever I can.
But not your seed phrase, folks. You got to keep that one in a secure place.
Yo, you guys are hot. You're coming in hot tonight.
I mean, yeah, you keep your seed phrase safe, but like one thing that's kind of cool, Max Schaff wrote this at the IRS. one of the tools that they have to help, people with their taxes is that you can give them your seed phrase and, they'll calculate your taxes for you. It's pretty cool.
That is a good one. And the other one, it sounds like you have good sources in the state, because the CIA confirmed that Jason Lowery's Twitter engagement was organic.
He retweeted that, I think, or liked that article. I can't remember what it was, but he had some sort of engagement with it that was pretty interesting. So I kind of take that as a confirmation.
Exactly.
You know what? I think, Dan, you should write for the Bugle, because your story, you break some good stories, I think.
Well, I mean, I would love to write for the Bitcoin Bugle. If I've had, I just have to work on getting sources. But I can see stuff firsthand from Miami in a few weeks. I was able to get a cheap ticket. A lot of people are pissed off at the Bitcoin magazine for that, but apparently they're trying to sell for $800 and people can't even flip a ticket for $250, the early bird rate. So they must have pissed somebody off with the ordinals or whatever that they're letting have a booth at the
You mean
conference.
that they can't flip it, they can't turn a ticket?
People that bought early bird tickets for $250, they can't sell their tickets on the secondary market, so to speak, because there's just no demand for it. But the Bitcoin conference is charging $800 right now.
Got it.
So people are, and this was a Bugle story as well, people are mad at Bitcoin magazine for making the tickets too expensive, and they can't afford to go. They lost all their money the last year. Would you know anything about that, Mike?
No, I would not at all.
Yeah, I mean, David Bailey tweeted that article, which I thought was pretty funny. But yeah, if anybody can't afford a ticket out there, Marshall Wong buys them like Chuck E. Cheese tokens. So like, if you want a free whale pass, hit him up.
Mike, let's go. Get a free whale pass. You can get.
Can you get me in?
Okay, so
into all the good parties.
Who, me?
Yeah.
It's not a serious question. It was a moment in which I could break up the conversation and intrude. Sorry, boys.
I could probably get you to the good parties. I mean, I've got a theory. So I have this theory, and I think it's pretty strong, but I think I know why Bitcoin magazine, why they're gonna have issues with this conference and attendance. And it's all surrounding the fact that they won't let Dennis Porter speak.
That's right. Dennis has been grinding around the country. He's been in Wyoming, North Dakota, Delaware, getting like state senators to say Bitcoin on Facebook, and he's been killing it on the legislative front.
Lots of pictures of him, standing and
standing in places. Exactly. And they're going to put Hodel Magoo, who's a fucking bear, up on stage and not let Dennis Porter. It's questionable decisions by the production team, to be sure.
I mean, Dennis went around. So he started an online petition that got up to, I don't know what it's at right now, but last I checked, it had 100,000 signatures. And you'd think like, each one of those people signing that petition like has a high percentage chance of going to that conference. And if he's not speaking, they're probably not going to go.
Right. That's the market is trying to tell them something. They're not listening.
Yeah.
Richard, are you a gambling man? Sports gambling, anything like that?
Not particular.
Maybe you are, Mike. If you had to bet, who's gonna win between Alex Gladstein and Max Keiser? They're boxing at Bitcoin 2023. Like the rough and rowdy they have for
that can't happen.
Barstool.
There's no way.
Yeah, dude. I'll send you
It
the
can't.
link.
It
I'll
can't
send
be.
you the link.
I gotta see
It's
this.
Yeah.
I mean, go
Are you
to Max,
photoshopping it right now?
I'm sending it to you on Slack.
go to Max Keiser's Twitter. He was tweeting about it.
Yeah. So who do you think is going to win? You got the Human Rights Foundation guy versus the
Look, a fight between
Eccentric.
Gladstein and Keiser.
yeah.
It's a good fight. That's
They're
what
both
I would say.
wiry. They're both
Yeah.
wiry, like the guy from
good
the
fight.
Replacements.
I don't know. I think
Max has
my
tenacity.
my
Alex kinda has
money
that,
might
like,
be on
stoic-
on Max. And my money might be on Max.
You think Alex comes out with like the Ukrainian flag or the American flag?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's developing his own flag, which is the democracy flag.
There we go. I wonder what that would look like. What would the democracy flag look like? Would just have like January 6th with like a X through it.
I think it like it probably has the angry NPC somewhere on it.
Yeah, that's true. It would just be a lot of gray, like the PBS logo. They could take the PBS logo.
Oh,
I don't know, man. That's gonna get a lot of boos when he comes in with that flag on. Kaiser's coming in with the El Salvador flag. He's repping them hard.
What
Yeah.
can you answer? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I mean, it's literally going to be like Rocky IV, where it's democracy versus like dictatorship,
Authoritarianism.
authoritarianism. Yeah.
Oof. I think I got to put my money on authoritarianism.
Richard, can you tell me the Bugle's position on Bitcoin?
Oh yeah, big blockers, small blockers, ordinals. What's the neutral?
I mean, it's kind of like a left of the bell curve approach of like, we like Bitcoin and we want you to pay us in Bitcoin. And so we, accept on-chain and Lightning.
Except liquid?
No, I
Okay.
haven't figured that out yet. I didn't know anybody used it.
Well, you still accept it. I don't know how to use it or spend it, but
I mean, I don't think we're gonna do like BRC20 tokens or
that's
nonsense
good.
like that.
That's good. You gotta keep the maximals happy.
I mean, it's just like, somebody gives me some stupid token. What am I gonna do with it? Like Bitcoin's money. I don't want Dentacoin on Bitcoin.
What about Monero on Bitcoin?
I mean, what's the point of that? It's just more difficult to transact with. Like, I mean, what do you do?
I think you get the ultrasound nature of Monero with Bitcoin's privacy, and I think that's like the perfect mix.
I mean, like, the important thing for me at the end of the day is like, I want to buy cartons of Marlboro Reds, and I have a person that lets me do that with Bitcoin, and I can't do that, with a stupid BRC20 token or these ordinals. And like, that's my goal at the end of the day. Of like, my kid's like 7. I've already got him started on Marlboro Reds, and he's sucking them down almost as quick as I am. Like, I gotta earn a lot of money to keep everybody in my family like sane.
All right. Does this connection for the Marlboros, do they sell Pall Mall 100 new menthols for Bitcoin? I'm trying to get my mom to use Bitcoin, and if it's not a menthol 100 Pall Mall, she's not going to go for it.
I don't know. I mean, there's a market for everything. I'll say that.
Last episode was localsats.org. If you are selling Pall Mall menthol 100s for Bitcoin, go on localsats.org or anything else, honestly. Somebody in your local area will hopefully be a customer.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's somebody out there. Yeah. That's actually like something I've considered doing is sitting outside the Bitcoin 2023 conference, getting a little table and selling Marlboro Reds as singles, for like 1,000 sats each.
It's actually such a good idea.
If you get put in a chokehold, tap out. People selling Lucy's, getting put in chokeholds, but big city police did not fare well.
Whoa, that's actually very interesting visual, is selling cigarettes outside of the Bitcoin conference for 1,000 sats each.
I think that this would be a good way, because you know how like they use cigarettes for money in prison. If you get people using Bitcoin to buy cigarettes, you might be able to get people to use Bitcoin in prison. And then that would change the whole digital economy of incarceration. Because the guards, they can sneak into your room, they can steal your cigarettes, but they can't steal your Bitcoin if you got your keys in your head.
It's
Oh
actually
my God.
like,
Oh my God. No, I just have to point out the fact that that's like what a demographic that needs to be orange pilled.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, sorry.
You can
I
get
mean, that might already be happening because they already all have phones.
I was going to say,
Like,
you can get a cell phone in there easily.
There's like TikToks of like people and what their life is like in prison. Why aren't they transacting in Bitcoin for cigarettes? Like, I bet they already are. That's already a thing.
If this 30% tax on mining does pass and they just kind of kill mining in the United States, Dennis Porter could hit the federal prison circuit and orange pill inmates. That could be his new like tour around America.
I have a lot of faith that won't happen because we have Dennis on our side. Like,
I think so, yeah.
How could they ever pass that when we have Dennis Porter?
You're right. That's kind of it's not my base case, but
Dude, if anybody has the eye of the tiger, it's Dennis.
I met Dennis last year at Miami, and he kind of just blew me off. I was kind of disappointed.
Bro.
Don't meet your heroes, man. Yeah, don't meet your heroes.
I mean,
I would take
that. I would, like, if I had that interaction with him, I'd feel really grateful because I knew he was running off to orange pill some politician somewhere to prevent me from like having all my freedoms taken away.
I think he was going to talk to Tucker Carlson, and I'm not joking about that. I think he literally was going to talk to Tucker Carlson.
Bro, Tucker Carlson, he probably orange pilled Tucker Carlson. Like that.
Somebody did.
Well, no, it was probably Dennis. That's probably why the crypto cloaks grenade was on the show and Max Keiser.
That's right. Oh man. Well, that interaction now, it was kind of like I kind of made like a noble sacrifice. I mean, meeting me, high hash rate, that's okay. It's kind of like the mid, but orange pill and Tucker Carlson changed it all.
You know what this all makes me think about is like this sort of weird how you can imprint a persona onto this space. You know what I mean? Like we all have this like image of these people.
Breaking. Mexico regional diplomat to San Diego County.
Have you broken any stories
Bitcoin.
like this? Have you guys broken stories like this?
I haven't used the breaking like Dennis Porter framing yet, but I don't know why I haven't, because that's a major failure on my part.
Yeah, him and Mike Alfred used that to get to like 100,000 followers quick.
Yo, we all understand how Dennis Porter uses the breaking sort of window.
It still works. And it still works.
Wow. So it means that it's an effective, even by that standard, the fact that we all understand that he uses it like this.
Life hack.
But he becomes this persona inside the Bitcoin space.
How do you think AI is going to affect that? Mike, how do you think AI is going to affect that? You love AI. You use it all the time.
How AI is going to affect Dennis Porter's
his style of like breaking news. Because he didn't invent it.
I mean, I could just imagine slapping a Dennis Porter filter on one of my songs. I think that might be something really dandy. There you go.
Yeah, we need to get a Nostr client that's it's like a relay of his breaking tweets.
I mean,
It has to be
He could
decentralized. You can't have all of Dennis Porter's content in a centralized server that could be censored. It would be like, it's very fragile.
Dennis Porter, yeah, I mean, like AI, the potential it has to like auto-generate tweets for him so that he can like spend more time like
Talking
protecting
to
all of us.
politicians. Yeah.
Like, you know, there, like I heard one time that Ted Cruz was kind of acting up and he was pretty interested in Ethereum. And like
Mhm.
Dennis Porter like teleported into his office and like smacked him.
Dennis Porter. That's what Dennis Porter is like, the Chuck Norris in a way of Bitcoin. Or is
Yeah.
it?
But
no, that-
better.
But that's it. That's it.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, I've been really trying to like help Dennis get a speaking spot at the conference. And, like, I don't think he appreciates all the effort I put into this for him. At one point, he blocked the Bitcoin Bugle on Twitter,
Oh.
but then he unblocked us for some reason.
I was gonna say, does he respond to like requests for comments or to respond to like stories, or does he just kind of blow the Bugle's reporters off?
I have actually slid into his DMs on. Well, I've done both. So I've sent articles to him on Telegram, asking for comment, and then I've also like responded to him in public groups asking for comment, and he never responds. So I mean,
Dennis,
he
when
might
you
just be
listen to
too
this,
busy.
Dennis, when you listen to this, you need to go into your spam filter of your Telegram or your. I mean, I know there's a lot of like head of communications for politicians and just women in general in those DMs, but make sure you filter some of that and you see what the Bitcoin Bugle is sending you.
I mean, he's too busy. Like the second article I ever broke was about Dennis, and it was about how he declined appointment at the World Economic Forum because he was too important.
Did he get one of those website pages where they put
I
like all
don't-
the people are affiliated?
I don't think so. I don't think he was ever a global young leader or an ambassador, whatever.
That's a shame. That would have been a good headshot. Hell yeah.
Man.
So what's next for the Bugle? What are you guys expanding? Are you growing? What's you're going to be sponsoring any conferences or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, we don't have any money. Like, I'll be honest. So, like, it costs like
Cigarettes are
$50.
expensive.
Yeah, cigarettes are expensive. I'm like running up credit card debt, like crazy to pay for that. I did like, you know, you should probably wait till your kid's like 9 to start them on cigarettes. Like, wait as long as you can. But
That's when I started.
yeah, I mean, getting people to give us money like would be great. I think I was trying to. So I have this BTC Pay server running, and nobody sent me any Bitcoin there. And then I also have like this Zebedee link attached to all the articles, and I've actually gotten some Bitcoin from that. So I think I have. Let me open my wallet. It's like about 3,000 sats.
Nice. That's generational wealth. Someday.
It's like, yeah, it's 2,969 sats. So that's almost 3 cigarettes at the conference. So that lasts me about 10 minutes. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of like one of the goals, but like, you know, the goal at the end of the day is like we just want to present the best hard-hitting journalism, you know, that you could possibly imagine. We'll continue doing that.
I think you're already on your way doing that. Where can people find your account? You're on Twitter, and where can people find the website?
Website is, well, I set up like this goofy ghost link URL, but if you go to the bitcoinbugle.com, it'll redirect to my goofy ghost site, and then we're on Twitter, and then follow. I post probably the most on the Telegram channel. So like all the stupid stuff I encounter. Um, um, so like when Jason Lowry like responds or likes or comments or retweets something, talking about how he's a spook, I'll screenshot it and post it there. So that's probably the best way to keep track of everything.
Awesome. Richard, or do you, Mike?
I actually, yeah, I had one sort of one of these mic questions out of nowhere that I wanted to get into, but the question is, what does the meme mean to you, Richard?
The meme.
The meme.
Just the broader concept of the meme, I think is what you're asking, right?
That's what I'm
Well,
asking.
the meme's everything. This is one of the things like that's most misunderstood. So like the meme is everything, and the memer, who's propagating the meme, is one of the most important individuals on the planet. And so like it's really disheartening. So they had this like whole like emphasis at the Bitcoin Magazine conference about open source developers. Like we all saw how much money that Luke Dash Jr. had, even though he's always out there like complaining about being poor and not getting any money as a developer. Like, but
Gas masks are expensive.
Like nobody's ever who donates to memers? Who's funding the open source memers? Like HRF and Alex Gladstein, they're dumping millions of dollars into development, but like crumbs for memers, if anything.
Yeah, there's an old Paul Simon, it's quote, I guess you can call it a quote. It's a lyric from The Sound of Silence, and it's a little outdated, but I think if you think about it through the eyes of a memer, that he's talking about us, right? He says the words of the prophets are written on the subway halls and the tenement halls and whispered in the sound of silence. And I think these subway walls, tenement halls, like this is the timeline. This is our Twitter timeline. This is our Instagram timeline, our Nostradamus timeline. And the memers are the prophets. And we're writing on these, literally they call it a Facebook wall, right? And it goes unappreciated, but if you pay attention, I think you'll get a lot of value. You'll get a lot of signal.
Bro, I mean, like, they say a picture's worth 1,000 words, but like a meme is a picture with a couple words on it. So I would say that like the words multiply.
If there's 3 words, it's worth 1,003 words.
No, it's multiplication, not addition, dude.
Exponential
like
curve. Okay.
Like so, like you scroll through memes, you go through like 50 memes, and that's like depending on how many words are on each meme.
It's like reading War and Peace.
Yeah, or Atlas Shrugged. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, another classic. Yeah, I agree with that.
I have one more of these questions.
Go ahead.
What aspect do you, Richard Greaser, think about Bitcoin like the most? A terrible way of asking that question, but you understand what I'm saying.
I mean, I'm just very like short-sighted. Like I haven't figured out the time preference thing yet. It's just like, how do I pay off? Well, I don't really care about paying off my credit card debt. Like run that shit up. Like, we all know what's gonna happen. Nobody's gonna pay their debt, but like I just want to like I dream of a day where like one, we get all the taxes off of Marlboro Reds. And so that there's an actual like market price for it that's not being manipulated by like shitheads, sitting and
speculators.
Stuff.
Yeah.
But then also the prices go down because Bitcoin is deflationary. So that's pretty cool to think about.
Do you think we'll get to 1 sat for 1 cigarette?
Ooh, that's a good question. I mean that's a harder question than saying 1 sat dollar. That's for sure.
I dream of that day.
Well, I mean, I think, reality, like when we hit that day, it's going to be pretty horrific. 'Cause the dollar's
Yeah.
just fucked. But
Yeah, but if it's $1 for one or 1 sat for one cigarette, you're probably going to need shotgun shells as much as you're going to need cigarettes.
yeah, I mean, like at that point, like I'm gonna own like a tobacco plantation, and I'll be making my own Marlboro Reds.
Hell yeah. Awesome.
Cool, man. Well, you know what, Richard? It was really good to speak with you tonight. I thought that was a great conversation.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Do you have any closing thoughts that you want to impart? Something you were thinking about, you wanted to bring up, or we could just end it here? Up to you.
Yeah, I mean, I just have a message to like old people out there that are selling their souls at organizations like the Washington Post and the New York Times. Like, I got out. I've been out for about 4 months. My liver feels good. My wife's happier with me. Not happy yet. I got to say, like, like the funds are a little bit tight, but like, I feel like there's weight off my chest, and like, it just feels good to be like honest, like not like lying to people all the time and like trying to start wars and keep people enslaved through bad information. So that feels good.
Oh yeah. Get on the mission, baby.
All right, I'm gonna cut it. Thanks, Richard. Thanks again for listening to the High Hash Rate podcast. You can find us on Twitter at High Hash Rate, or you can hit up Dan at Heartland Bitcoin, HRTLND Bitcoin, or myself, Mike, at Run Dance Bitcoin. That's all one word, Run Dance Bitcoin. If you're a fellow pleb or you just want to shoot the shit with two high Bitcoiners, reach out to us.
Holy Toledo!